Hello, everybody. A couple of weeks back, I put a video out. I get ready for something new. And in that video, I showed you how to create a torus. So today, we're going to be doing a torus on the stone. And what I've done here is I've just given you a quick refresher. I'm not really going to go through it. I'll have the link to the video down below if you want to watch the whole thing in the entirety. But so here I'm showing you how to do the torus real quick. And then I'm going to also give you a quick little show of how I paint the torus. It's by no means in depth, but I think you'll be able to get it quite easily by what I'm showing you. So after that, what I'm doing right here is I'm just getting rid of the lines that I had for the seed of life, just so you can see the difference what a torus is, okay? And now just get it transferred over to the stone. So when trying to draw it over onto the stone, I did have a little bit of trouble at first, and I found that if I hold my compass right down at the bottom rather than from the top, I had much better success in keeping the compass on the stone. So don't let that throw you. Don't be afraid. Just take your time. If your pencil marks are a little bit heavy, you can always just erase them lightly. You'll still be able to see them. And while you're painting, if any of your lines get really thick, like you're going to see here, don't be afraid to just take your X-Acto knife and shave them down and then just repaint them, okay? It'll be much better than if you just left it. So let's get started. So we're starting off with some Tropic Bay Blue. It's a Ceramcoat multi-surface paint. That does not matter. You can use whatever kind of paint you'd like, whatever color you'd like. I started out by trying to do a design by following the flow of the circles, and it started out pretty good with just the Tropic Bay, and then I'm going to add a little white and kind of lighten up the color, and then I'll do that one more time and make it a lot lighter, almost a white. But following the pattern of the spirals here didn't quite come out the way I was expecting it to. So don't be too concerned if your lines aren't straight, your dots aren't straight. Eventually, I will come back and kind of fill in all of the spaces. That's on this particular design. If you want to continue and try to keep it going straight, do that. But this is what I've done. Okay. So I'm going to just go ahead and continue putting these little dots. This is a really, and I know I say this often, this is a really easy design. And once you get past the torus and drawing and painting those lines, um, it really is a piece of cake, okay? So on the outside here, I did a little dot right at the juncture of each of these spirals. And I'm putting from left to right, I'm doing a walking of a little bit of dots, and then from right to left, I'm putting a swoosh. Now, I'm going to tell you that later on, I take that out because that's just not a look that I was liking. So just be aware of that. Now, I have a sea sponge, and I have that leftover paint that I had mixed, and I'm just really quickly, and you can see that there's nothing fancy here. I am just going ahead and dabbing on with that sea sponge the rest of that paint, or some of that paint. Now I still had some left, as you can see, and I decided to go up the top and where the beginning of the spiral, at the center of the spiral, um, torus, I guess I should say, was just, I don't know, it was too gold. It was too gold for me. The other side, the edges were looking more like, well, I'll just say it looks like, to me, it looks like denim. And I end up giving this little stone a name called Denim and Diamonds. You'll see why. So I'm just coloring up the top there, just giving it just a little color, um, nothing fancy. So I put the compass in the center there, and I think I had that at about 1.5 or 1 3/4 inches radius, and I just drew a line right around. And I'm using the uh, Tropic Bay Blue, and I'm just going around and giving that first collar a beginning line. Now I'm putting this peacock teal or whatever it is, the same color as the base that I had painted the stone. I'll put everything down below. And that color kind of just faded in. So I will come back and I'm going to change that later. I'm actually going to change it to gold. Now, the white is in between and below each of the Tropic Bay. And now I'm putting a little white dot right above the Tropic Bay. So the white dots are actually kind of making like a little triangle, if you can see that. And now underneath, I'm coming back again with that same peacock teal and putting a larger dot right below the Tropic Bay. That one's going to stay. I'm just going to zhuzh it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm back with the gold. I'm putting the little gold dots. You can see they're kind of very small and they're fitting right in between the peacock. And I'm just doing that all the way around, down below and in between. And that's the exact same thing I'm going to do above where that other teal is. So now, once again, with the Tropic Bay, I'm putting another round of little dots right underneath is a peacock. And I'm doing that all the way around. Now I'm saying peacock and peacock teal and oh, there's several different colors that are all really close, and they have like different names. Some of them are Indian turquoise and peacock teal, and whatever color this really is, I'll put it down in the description box below because I know I'm probably saying it wrong. Okay. Now up the top, I thought that light color was just a little too blah. I just threw a little bit of that same peacock up there. Hey, nothing fancy. I'm just kind of swishing it around. Okay, so now I'm covering up that gold, that blue with the gold. And I'm not being really concerned about covering up the whole dot because the base is that same color. Now, right in the center, I'm just putting a nice little huge dot of white. And that is just a regular white acrylic. It's kind of going to give me a base for the top up there. And then I'm just kind of cleaning up those little blue petals. I like the way that top is looking a little bit, but I don't like this area. So I've taken out my X-Acto knife and I'm just scraping as much of that paint away as I can. And it came off fairly easily. It left a little bit of a mark, but it didn't actually leave an indentation on the top. If it did, I probably would have gone with a very little small piece of fine sandpaper and just sanded it down. But the blue actually covers it up. And if you notice, it gives it a nice rounded dome-like effect. So that gold up there looks like it's sitting a little bit higher and rounder. I think that's pretty cool. I hadn't noticed that as I was painting it, but as I'm looking back on it, I'm like, yeah, that looks pretty cool. One of those little Bob Ross happy accident things. So here we are. As I mentioned before, I am filling in some of those little lonely spots that um, didn't quite come out the way I wanted it before. So I'm just going ahead and filling in some of those dots. I'll have to work on the design that I was thinking about, see if I can get it to actually look the way I wanted. So now with the compass, I have a darker pencil and I'm drawing a line right around the girdle. I had put a white line there before, but it really just kind of faded in. Now with that same peacock base color there and a wet sea sponge, I'm dabbing just around the bottom, right up and close to that mark, that line that I just drew. And I'm not being too careful about getting it all filled in. I really like the way this looked. I thought it looked sort of like an old denim jacket or whatever. I really liked it. So that's why I named it Denim and Diamonds, because I'm going to be putting some crystals up at the top and it's going to look like diamonds. So with that same peacock, teal, turquoise, I'm putting one row of medium-sized dots all around the edge. And now I'm putting white underneath, and I'm trying to do my every other pattern. And I didn't count. And as you can see here, I'm not able to because I have an odd number. Now, as I've said before, if these were small dots, I would be able to put, more than likely, I'd be able to put that one dot right over the turquoise, and it wouldn't have been noticeable. But these are larger dots, and that would have been very, very noticeable. So I continued around, and I put a dot in between each and every one of them. And then I came back and I put another row of white in between that row. So now that first row around the collar, the first collar of the peacock blue, teal, aqua, whatever, I'm putting the metallic peacock pearl on there just to give it a little bit of something. And now with the hologram, y'all know how much I love my hologram. I'm putting it not very thickly, just a nice thin little coat of hologram on the gold all the way around. It gives it that little bit of glamour without being over the top. And I also spread a little bit on the turquoise around the top. And you can see I'm just going around and doing my usual thing. Hologram, wherever it's a bare color that looks like it needs a little bit of life. And the same thing with the metallic pearl. I 99.9% of the time will do a flat white acrylic, and then I'll come back with the metallic pearl white. Most of the time I also will come back on top of those two and put hologram. So there's a side view, and it still looks a little bit boring on the bottom there, so I'm going to put a little bit of a gold dot on the very, very bottom and in between each one of those whites. And that kind of ties the top together because we started out with the little gold dots and we're going to finish with the little gold dots. And cleaning up that little bit of pencil mark that I had there and just using my eraser and taking it out. So now around the bottom there, all of that white, both rows of the white, I'm adding the hologram just to give that a little bit of dimension. And I'm sprinkling with a fine tool. I'm just sprinkling here and there and everywhere a little bit of a hologram. Now, I'm a fan of hologram, and you can see that I put it in several places. So a hologram is one of those things that if you love it, you do. If you don't, you don't. So please just feel free to put it wherever you'd like. Back with my gold, I'm doing a top, well, I'm not calling it, I can't call it a top dot, but the top row of the bottom, I'm finishing off that. So we started with gold, blue, white, and back to the gold. Now I had put these little dots around and I had put some hologram on them, and I didn't like, they were just kind of sitting there, so I popped them off. I don't think I even actually put that on tape, did I? But anyway, I popped them off, and I'm deciding to put those little crystals. Um, they're glass. I bought them off of Amazon. I'll have the link down below. And so I put them along the bottom on each of those intersections. And then up at the top, every other point that meets towards the center, I've put a crystal there. So I have 6 at the top, I have 12 at the bottom. And then halfway around, I put one every quarter of the way. So I have one, and then I skipped 1, 2, put another one. I skipped 1, 2, and then the third one, I put one. You can see where I put them. Put them where you'd like. And I'm using the Judikins diamond glaze. It's what I use to attach my stones and crystals. There's plenty of things out in the market, but I really like Judikins. Judikins is dries clear. It works really, really well. You put it down. It gives you a couple of seconds to be able to move things around and get them back in place where you'd like. And then once they're on, they're on. I mean, this was probably like 2 minutes after I put them on. I'm going with my fingers around to see if I have any that I'm looking to see if I have any that I missed gluing down, and I'm also looking to see if any of them need to be adjusted. But I could see that a couple of them had glue on top of the stone itself, and they were looking a little cloudy. So I just took a wet, damp Q-tip and just kind of cleaned them off. And look at that. Look at that shine. It's so pretty. Now at the very top, I'm just putting a nice covering of the white metallic pearl. And now I'm just putting a decent amount of hologram up there, and I'm spreading it out with my little paintbrush because I want the hologram to be right up to the edge. I don't want to see any of the regular paint. I want it to be sparkly all to the edge. Now these metallic pearl, peacock pearl down the bottom here, I thought they just needed a little something, so I went real quickly with my hologram and just put little center dots. You can see I didn't take great care in covering anything. And and in the end, it didn't really do much, but I felt better doing it. So again, with the Judykins at the top there, I'm just spreading a little bit. And that's the largest of the stones that I have in my little kit. And I put that baby right on the top there. And in no time flat, she was stuck down. And look, we are done. Now tell me if that was hard. That was super, super simple. So the video to do the Torus, how to make the Torus. I have a video just drawing the Torus, and then I have another video showing it showing you how to paint it. I will link those both below. I have the video on how I make my stones. That's going to be linked below, and also the different colors of paint that I used, the stones, and there you can see the tools. I've used very few tools. Oh, it's Peacock Pearl and Desert Turquoise for the base color. Desert Turquoise. Let me know what you think. Please leave your questions and comments down below. I really would appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. Hit that bell so you'll know when I put another video up. I have another couple coming. So thank you for watching, and until next time, take care and keep going. You're doing great. Bye-bye.